Hey guys, it's Sarah, and I'm doing my October wrap-up. I'm sorry that this is late, but I just haven't had the time to film lately, so yeah. I read 8 books in October, which is okay for me. I hope to read more the next 2 months because I have to reach my Goodreads goal, so. The first book I read is Over You by Amy Reed, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I can't go into much detail without really giving things away, but it's about 2 friends named Max and Sadie, and they've been really close friends since they were like kids. So when Sadie wants to go to a ranch that her mom lives in for the summer vacation, Max hops along, and while they're there, some things to their friendship start happening. This is a contemporary read, so it's not like a big mystery or anything, but it's about toxic friendships, and it's really good. So yeah, I really like Amy Reed. I'm a big fan of her, so check out her books. The next book I read, which has some sticker residue, which really annoys me, but whatever, is Living Dead Girl by Elizabeth Scott, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. This book does deal with a lot of raw material, so if you cannot handle that, I do not recommend reading this one. It's about a girl named Alice, who 5 years ago she was kidnapped by a man named Ray, and for 5 years she's been living with him, and he's kind of getting bored of her. So yeah, but this book just deals with her living with him and the abuse and stuff, and there just is some stuff that goes on, but I don't want to say anything, so. Because if I say stuff, then it will spoil it. The next book I read was Choker by Elizabeth Woods, and before I say anything about my opinion, just look at that cover. It has like the black silhouette of a rose, and then the cursive, and then just the white branches and the pink. It's just such a pretty cover. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. I felt like it was unrealistic in certain points. Basically, it's about a girl named Kara who she moved to a new school and ditched her friend Zoe behind. So for a few years now, she's been going to this new school, and she gets the nickname Choker because of an incident happens in the cafeteria, and now she's getting bullied. And like one night, Zoe, her friend, comes in the window and asks for help, so she lets Zoe stay there. But as Zoe comes, there's a murder in the town, and the boy that she likes, whose name is Ethan, is the number 1 suspect for the murder. So she tries to help out Ethan, and she's kind of curious why the murder happened when Zoe came. So it was interesting. I feel like if they changed a little bit of what happened, I would have liked it better, but I know a lot of people did like this. I don't know. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite, and it wasn't horrible though. The next book I read was Going Underground by Susan Vaught. I'm sorry, I was thinking another book. So yes, Going Underground by Suzanne Vaught, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. It's so good. It's about a boy named Dell who, a few years ago, I think it was 3 years ago? 3 years ago, he was convicted of a crime, and as you read, it explains the crime, explains what happened and why he got charges. So the only job he can get is digging graves, and while he's digging graves, he meets a girl named, what's her name? Livia. I almost said Lena from the Beautiful Creatures, but it's Livia. And Livia and him have a good connection, they're friends and stuff, but he is afraid to tell her why he has to work at the graves site, digging graves, and what happened with his crimes, and he's just afraid to tell her the truth. And also it deals with a lot of family life after what happened with the incident. So gave this 5 out of 5 stars, and I most definitely will be checking more out by this author. As you can see, a lot of these books I read this month are contemporary, so. The next book I got is Identical by Ellen Hopkins, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5, which means I liked it. It was between I liked it and I really liked it, because at certain points I felt it was slow, and at certain points I really did enjoy it. And this is about 2 twins named Kaylee and Rianne, or Rain. I called her Rianne. Both of them, their mom is doing campaigns, and their father is abusive, and that is not a spoiler, it's in the flap. I try not to do spoilers, so yeah. But anyways, the twins deal with it in certain ways, like Kaylee's kind of quiet and kept to herself, while Rand chooses to act out doing drugs and sex, and it's just how they get through it and stuff like that. And it's really good. It is written in verse, because it is Ellen Hopkins. So this is my first Ellen Hopkins and my first verse book, and I have to say the verse was surprisingly easy to read. So I will be checking out more Ellen Hopkins books. They're really good. The next book, and this is my last contemporary of the month, was Love You, Hate You, Miss You by Elizabeth Scott, and Elizabeth Scott is becoming one of my favorite contemporary authors. This is my third book I read by her, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This is about a girl named Amy, and her friend Julia died 75 days ago. Yeah, I thought it was 65 or 75. So she has to go to therapy because of it, because she blames herself. So her therapist tells her to write stories about what happened with Julia and their time together, but instead of that, she writes letters to Julia about what's going on in the past, and she just realizes that what happened really wasn't that good, and she realizes how much better she is off, not without Julia, but in general, that a lot of things that happened weren't very good, and she just learns to let go of her grief, and it's a really good book. I really recommend it. And my last book, actually no, this is not my last book. I read another one, and I read this for school, so I don't have a copy with me, and I can't do editing or anything. It was The Crucible by Arthur Miller, and that is a play, right? So you read it as a play, and it is about the Salem witch trials, and these girls basically play around with witchcraft, and they live in a Puritan community, and Puritan is a very strong Christian religion. They're very strict, and witchcraft is definitely by law against them, and if you play with it, you could be executed, which means death. And so to protect themselves, they make up lies saying that people were making them do it and stuff like that, and I loved it. It's very, very thin, and the reason I don't have a copy is because the copies are like $12, and I just don't want to buy one. I want to find one half off, so I will wait, but it is so good. I gave it 4 to 5 stars, and I'm starting to enjoy, as I get older, more books that I read for school, so yeah. And the last book I read was Beta by Rachel Cohn, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5. This was, oh my gosh, the characters were alright, but the world building and the world that Rachel Cohn created for the series, I absolutely loved it. This is about a girl named Eliza, I call her Eliza, but that's not her real name, and she is a beta. She is a teen beta, the first of her kind, and a beta is a clone that might have some defects that still needs to be worked on, and she gets sold to this island. I forgot what island's name is, but basically on the island only the rich people live there and stuff. I think the island's name is Desmani. It's a weird name. And so she replaces the older sister of a family because the older sister went off to college, so since she's a teen beta, she goes to the island for that, and as she's on the island, she starts realizing the people on the island have different intentions than they really thought for the clones, because the clones are supposed to be workers there, but she starts finding out secrets and has to make decisions, and clones aren't supposed to have feelings or anything, but she starts feeling things, and it just gets really dramatic and awesome. So yeah, really good. And that is all I read in October, so I will be doing a November TBR in another video. So if you know any of these books, if you have anything to say, any questions, please leave them in the comments. I love answering questions, so thank you. Thank you for watching this, and tell me what you read in October. I would love to hear it.